Want to discuss Bijan Robinson with you. I know he had a crazy year last year. For those of you that don't have the stats right in front of you, he had 1,456 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns. He also had 431 receiving yards and a touchdown through the air. And also, I want to just read you his stats from the last 3 games of the season. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in each of the last 3 games. And the reason why I'm using that sample size is because that's when Penix has been starting. So against the Giants, he dropped 94 2 touchdowns. Against Washington, 92 touchdowns. And against Carolina at home, he had 170 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns there. Jeff, could this guy with Penix under the helm, having a mobile quarterback opens up a lot of running lanes, could he possibly contend for MVP?
When was the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP award?
I know the last time a running back won it. That's AP. I don't remember if a wide receiver won it in between.
And if they did, it doesn't matter, right? Like ultimately, it doesn't. I mean, look how good an elite Derrick Henry has been for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, I'm a big Bijan, and this is not a knock on Bijan. We have turned things like the Heisman Trophy and the MVP award in the NFL into quarterback awards. You look at some of the absolutely go back in the last 20 years and look at some of the most absolutely dominating running back performances, throughout the seasons, and guys that should have been MVPs, and they find a reason to give it to a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it doesn't matter how good Bijan is, and I think he has shown through his first 2 seasons, there's absolutely no reason for you to look at him and say he's not on his way to the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's how good he has been. That's how good he's only going to get better over the next 4 to 5 years. And so for me, no, he's not going to be an MVP. Is he going to play like one? I think he already does. You just mentioned almost 2,000 total yards last year, almost 20 touchdowns. That's a guy that should be in the MVP conversation every single year. He won't be because as voters no longer value what a running back brings to the table. And so for that reason, no. Will he play like one? Yes. Should he be in the conversation for one? Yes. Will he be? No. And I hope he runs with that chip on his shoulder.
I think it's a factor of 2 things, right? Like you need to have a year where there's really no QB sticking out. That needs to be first and foremost, because if a QB is going ham, let's just say CJ Stroud puts it all together year 3, he's winning that award no matter what happens, no matter what a non-quarterback does. So you kind of need some of that luck to go your way too. But on top of it too, Jeff, like Bijan to win it, in my opinion, and the odds there are reflective of it's really low. It's plus 10,000 to plus 15,000 in some sports books, meaning you put $100 down, just $100, and you could win at 10 grand. Those are crazy long odds. Basically, the sports books are even telling you this ain't happening for good reason. 2012, I looked it up while we were talking, was the last time a non-quarterback won MVP. And that was Adrian Peterson. And I believe he was close to breaking the record. There was no quarterback going crazy that year. So you got to take all of that into account when looking at all of this. I think that he's capable of doing it. I think he could have stats that can get him there. But will he ultimately get there? I just think that in this day and age, with how many great quarterbacks there are, there's gonna be someone. Maybe it's 9. What if 9 explodes? He could win MVP, right? Like if he goes crazy, 40 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, he will for sure win MVP over Bijan if he has like 25 touchdowns and 1,800 yards. Like Bijan needs to break records, whereas QBs just need to have the best year in the league, like just 40 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, and you're in contention, in my opinion.
I mean, you don't even need to go back that far. Let's rewind to last year. Right? Lamar Jackson, really good year. Josh Allen, really good year. Joe Burrow, really good year. Saquon should have been the MVP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100% should have been the MVP last year. If the Eagles weren't complete fucking idiots, he'd have broken the rushing record, right? And he would have done it in lesser carries than what's his name that currently owns the record. I know everybody wanted to talk about 17 games versus what, but he would have done it in far less carries, by the way.
Because he
He
got
led the
pulled. Everyone points to that Saquon only played 17 games, or he played one more game than the current record holder, but he got pulled in a lot of those games too. Those games could have been a lot more lopsided.
Well, but he had like 40 less carries, right? So like it's even if he plays that game, he plays week 18, he breaks the record, and he does it in probably 20 to 30 less carries than in what is it, Eric Dickerson, who currently
Yeah,
owns the record.
yeah.
And he would have done it in almost 40 less carries than Dickerson. And so miss me with the whole game is bullshit. Guys run differently now. Guys aren't on the field all the time. And Saquon was really special last year. And I think he's going to be really fun to watch as he kind of goes through the prime of his career, which he's in now. But leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory, and I know that doesn't, it has nothing to do with the MVP stuff, but that dude was the MVP last year. Played like it from week 1 to week 17, and didn't even get a chance in week 18 because of how special he was. They didn't need him, and so for me, when a guy can have a season like that and not even finish in the top 3 of MVP voting, you would have to rush for 3,000 fucking yards in order for a running back to even be in the conversation at this point, which is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, that part is crazy too. And I apologize to the listeners. It wasn't one less game. They used to play 12 games back then. So technically 5 less games, which sounds like a lot, but to Jeff's point, he did it in 40 less carries. So like I think the carries is more important there. Those are opportunities. And back then, Jeff, the running backs weren't really used as much in the pass game as they are now too. So like that takes away from their rushing production implicitly. So it's crazy to me. The fact that he got no first place votes this year is wild. I think Josh and Lamar were kind of neck and neck for it. And to be honest with you, I thought that Lamar had a better statistical season this year compared to last year, yet Josh Allen got the MVP because he was lit. I mean, if you look at his and I'm gonna get killed. Bills Mafia loves to target me on X, and it's awful. Anytime I open my mouth about Josh Allen, and I'm not trying to imply anything negative about him, but there were a lot of situations, Jeff, where James Cook could have probably punched in the ball, and his rushing stats were a little more inflated. So, like, if you just look at his pure passing stats, it doesn't scream MVP numbers to you. I don't even think that he threw for 4,000 yards. So like that, I mean, he might be like one of the only quarterbacks to win MVP as of recent memory to not throw for 4,000 passing yards. So that to me, like, kind of makes me think that if Barkley broke the record and it was just a headliner, like, oh, Barkley surpasses Eric Dickerson's single season rushing yard record, that probably puts him over the top this year. That would have got it done, in my opinion.
So Dickerson did, by the way, he played 16 games, right? So he
Oh,
did in
he did.
16, not 12.
Okay.
He did
Okay.
16 games, 379 carries, 2,105 yards. This year Saquon played 16 games, had 349 carries, had 2,005 yards. So he was 100 yards short and 30 less carries. Saquon absolutely but again, you have that kind of season. You go over 2,000 for the first time in what is it, almost a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are again. Didn't finish in the top 3 of the MVP voting. So at this point, let's just make it a quarterback award. Most valuable quarterback, and keep it moving. Hell, the NFL has finally realized that offensive linemen matter. Right, like we've actually gotten to a point here in 2025 where we're going to have the best offensive linemen in the NFL, which will be great. And there's a lot of guys who you could probably go back and give that award to over the past 50, 60 years. So I guess slow but steady. But yeah, to go back to answer your original question, no matter how good Bijan is, he's never going to win MVP because of what we've talked about.